like to talk a little more about insurance companies and how they're changing the way of life in Prince Edward County. The whole concept of liability from insurance companies for absolutely everything that we do really changes the way we operate in the county. It's got county councils so scared that we're not doing things because we're too terrified of the liability because of the insurance companies. Let me give you an interesting example. If you see this sign behind me, is a school crossing sign designed for the safety of our children on their way to school. It's a wonderful thing, but the sign wasn't always like that. When the county boys came out and originally mounted it, it was actually at head height. And a client of mine on his way to see me ran directly into the sign and got a huge gash right in his scalp. And if you've ever had one of those, you know they bleed like crazy. Well, certainly he was angry, but the point of the story is that he didn't sue anybody. There's some irony here, and I love irony in the fact that a safety sign actually did damage to someone and could possibly have instigated a lawsuit. I find that very funny. But my client was actually very angry, but instead of suing, he actually just went to Shire Hall and showed them the big gash in his head and said, this sign needs to be raised. And they did it. The very same day the county crew was out here, they realized the problem, they fixed it, everybody walked away happy. And this is the way things should be. We don't have to sue everybody for anything to get things done. But insurance companies now run everything. My insurance on my vehicle went from $1 million coverage to $2 million coverage. I think this is kind of crazy because I always believe that if you're going to be sued, you're going to be sued for exactly the amount of insurance coverage that you have. So if I've got $5 million worth of coverage, then I'm going to run into some lawyer who's going to say, why, that's coincidental, because that's exactly the amount of damage that was done to my client. $49.99, $99.99, whatever $5 million minus a penny is. This is how the insurance companies work, and that's kind of crazy. The other thing everyone knows about insurance companies, if they've ever dealt with it before, is they can weasel their way out of anything. They don't want to pay, even though they've taken your money. If I got hit by somebody, they would come to me and say, Steve, the guy who trashed your truck is a United Church minister, and we consider this an act of God, so we're not paying. This is the way insurance companies go. And how did insurance companies get this way? I know what you're saying. It's because of us. It's because of you and I. Well, probably not you and I, possibly you, but I've never sued anybody before. But we all know people who will take any opportunity to sue the ass off anybody. They could be a family member, could be a friend, could be a neighbor, but they're the kind of people who just want to do this. And why? Probably because they're not scoring big on their lottery tickets, which is the only other possibility you have of getting $5 million all at once for anything that you do in life. But they're still looking for the big score. So the next thing you do is you start suing people. I have one more story to tell you that ties into the insurance thing. This seems to be spreading through North America and in Canada, but I was down in Mexico. And I was walking along a little short street on the way to the Cancun Walmart. And yes, they have a Walmart in Cancun. Hardly any cars travel this street, but most of the pedestrians taking transit go down here. And I look up and they're tearing down a concrete building across the road. So I lean up against the building across the road and I'm watching these guys work. So for one thing, there's no canopy over the sidewalk. There's like concrete falling everywhere. And then I look up and I'm watching these guys work because they don't do things like we do in Canada. They don't bring in cranes and bulldozers and heavy machinery. They bring in 100 Mexican guys. So I'm looking at these guys tearing this down and they're wearing sneakers, blue jeans, no shirts. No hard hats, no safety goggles, no work gloves, no steel-toed boots, no safety harnesses. just a bunch of guys with sledgehammers in their hand, whacking that crap out of the concrete, which is all falling down onto the sidewalk and rolling into the street. So while I'm watching this and noticing how different it is from Canada, I see two tourists walking along that very same sidewalk. And I know they're tourists because they have matching pink shirts and matching white pants. So I shout out to them, whoa, better watch out because they're taking this building down here. And they ignore me. They walk another 10 feet, and I swear to God, they stand there looking up with their mouths open while concrete and bits of metal are falling all around them. And I said to myself, you know, we don't need insurance companies to protect stupid people. God knows how to take care of stupid people. And let's hope he does it before they have an opportunity to procreate.